its numbers. Okay, so we've done all of our rows up above. We're down to rows I and J. I'll go through how to do line I. Line J will be the same. Again, I have different numbers than you, so don't just write my numbers down. Follow the process that I'm following. Here I'm missing the original price, the inflation rate, and the real GDP. So again, we start with the one furthest to the left. Again, we have to use a CPI formula to find it. So here's our CPI formula. The original price is the current price divided by the CPI times 100. So the original price again is equal to the current price. The current price, it says, is $64.48 divided by the CPI. The CPI is 384.2. And then we're supposed to multiply by 100. Okay, so I get 0.1678, and then I need to take that times 100. Okay, so I get an original price of $16.78, which means I'm going to have a pretty darn big inflation rate. Look at the jump in price there. Okay, so next I find the inflation rate, which again, to find inflation rate, you do the current price minus the original price divided by the original price. Okay, so our current price is $64.48 minus our original price of $16.78 divided by the original price of $16.78. So 64.48 minus 1678, 47.7 divided by 1678, and we get 2.84. It's about, now notice here, this is still a decimal, and I have to write that as a percent. So even though there's a 2 in front, I still need to move the decimal 2 places to the right. It's just a very large inflation rate, so I get a really high percentage. Okay, so it's more than doubled, almost tripled in price is what this inflation rate is saying, because the inflation rate is 284%. Okay, so as we continue here, then we're asked to find the real GDP. Now this is going to come out really funny because we have such a high inflation rate, but this is how it would look. We still follow our original formula. To find the real GDP, you do the GDP, which we'll do over here, was 1,400,000,000 minus the GDP, 1,400,000,000, times the inflation rate. But remember, the inflation rate as a decimal was 2.84, so that's going to make our number bigger. Okay, so when I do that, then I get my 1,400,000,000 minus something larger than itself, 3,976,000,000. We still subtract them, but what's going to happen is we're going to get a negative GDP. So we still do 1,400,000,000 minus our 3,976,000,000. Okay, so again, we get a negative GDP, actually, is what happens here. We get negative 2,756,000,000 for our real GDP. Oops, wrong line. Okay, so that is how, and that doesn't happen, that's not going to happen real often, but it just happened with these numbers we had here. So use that process to find lines I and J and finish out your table.